Hello, friends. Today, I want to talk a little bit about overcoming fear. And one of the best ways to do that, if you're experiencing fear, is to take deep breaths, to practice pranayama, deep and calming breaths, to allow yourself to relax and to keep the heart from thumping out of your chest and just calm the heart. We have to realize that fear can come. There's so much in the news right now that's very scary, but we can do the right things and calm ourselves down. We have to be willing to live in this world for 100 years, the great ones tell us, or to be willing to leave this afternoon. So we have to face our mortality and to realize that at some point the final exam will come, as Swami Kriyananda used to refer to it. And we have to realize that every minute of our lives, we are preparing for that final exam. And so let us see this world as an opportunity in every moment to be calm and centered and to be always listening for what God wants us to do. If we live our lives in fear, that's what we have at the end, is more fear. But if we live our lives in trust, then it's just a step from one room to the next when we leave this world. Swami Kriyananda was a great example of living without fear. He even wrote a beautiful song entitled, "I Live Without Fear." And he wrote that song when one of his detractors spent an hour with him, tearing him apart, telling him all of his faults, all of his imperfections. And all Swami did was hear him out. He didn't try to defend himself or say, no, you have that wrong, I'm not like that. He just patiently listened as this man just criticized and insulted him for over an hour. And then when the man had spent himself with all his vitriol and finally was ready to leave, Swami just said, well, thank you for coming and sharing these thoughts with me. And the man left, and Swami went to the piano. And he took all of that feeling and expressed it creatively in a beautiful song.
The green summer fade and winter draw near. My Lord, in your presence I live without fear. Through tempest, through snows, through turbulent tide, the touch of your hand is my strength and my guide. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. I ask for no riches that death can destroy. I crave only thee, your love and your joy. The dancers will pass, the singing must end. I welcome the darkness with you for my friend.
We have to remember that no matter what people think, no matter what they say about us or do to us, we have to be free in our hearts and just try to love God and not let other people's opinions define who we are. In thinking about being fearless, I remember Swami in India when we lived in a house in Gurgaon near New Delhi. Swami would take a walk every day for his health, and there was a park in front of his house, and so he would make about a block square walk every day, and naturally we got to know the neighborhood dogs who would join us sometimes on those walks. There was a dog who lived next door to our house who we were particularly fond of. Swami would call her the Peg dog because she looked like Peggy Lee, the voice of Peggy Lee in Lady and the Tramp. This dog was a little show dog who had wound up in jail in the movie, and she had her fur going down over one eye, and her tail made a curl. She was a very fluffy little blonde dog, and she sang a beautiful song in the movie, the voice of Peggy Lee. So anyway, Swami was especially fond of this little dog, and he would bend down to pet her. He was in his 80s at this time. And she was just very cute and very sweet. Well, one day, as was the usual, she was with us as we were making this walk around the park, when suddenly these two huge dogs, 3 or 4 times her size, came and started growling and threatening her. I didn't know what to do. I was looking around for a stick or a rock or something to try to drive off these big dogs, and they were mean. One had his ear completely torn off and scarred, and they had been in a lot of fights, and they were ready to fight our little pig dog. While I was trying to figure out what to do, Swami didn't hesitate. Swami just walked right between Peg and these 2 monster dogs. And remember, he was a frail old man in his 80s. They could have easily knocked him down, without a doubt. But that didn't stop him. He protected his friend without a thought for himself. It was the right thing to do, and that's what he did. He was fearless. Well, these big dogs were amazed and they left the scene. More than his physical presence, they must have felt his energy too. And our little dog was protected. Cultivate that kind of fearlessness in yourself. Yogananda recommends that you do everything you can to prevent disease, to stay protected, and then to be completely fearless. So let's take that lesson to heart. Be a warrior in this life. Don't let, as Sri Yukteswar said, don't let the frogs of the senses kick you around. The frogs in this case of fear and worry and distress. Don't let them kick you around. Be a warrior for the light. Be a warrior for God. And know that you have His protection, His grace, His eternal love. So no matter what happens in this world, be strong in yourself.